I just always had aspirations to be successful. Even when I dropped out of college, because my acting career started to take off. Then I went to beauty school to become a hairdresser, but not to work in a local salon, to become Vidal Sassoon. If I had to transition into that, because the acting didn't work out, but the acting worked out.
I grew up in Bern, the capital. It keeps me organized. I think my Swiss upbringing has some kind of an organizational effect on me. For me, it was very important at an early age to be in charge of my own time.
I feel American. I was born in New York City. My parents met here in New York City. One spoke Armenian and Turkish, the other spoke Greek. So they spoke English together. I learned Greek from my grandmother and many other things. So I do really consider myself very fortunate.
Well, a lot started before I became a model. I mean, I grew up in the garment district. Modeling is just, it's like a twig on a tree. You know, you try to do pictures. I'm not really a print girl. I was always a runway model. And things just happen as you move along. It was very easy to want to be on stage, and I used to be successful as a tap dancer.
Il teatro per me, da che sono nata, è la mia cosa. A 5 anni facevamo gli spettacolini coi burattini a casa mia, invitando tutti i bambini di Amalfi. Mio padre mi ha trasformato una stanza in una specie di teatro, per cui invitavamo tutte le persone a vederlo. Mi sono innamorata di questo giovane artista e da un giorno all'altro, dalla mia grande passione del teatro, mi sono trovata in India, più o meno dormendo per terra in un campo di rifugiati e incinta. E quindi da lì improvvisamente è cambiata la mia vita.
Io sono stata messa in collegio a 8 anni perché ero molto delicata di salute. E c'era questo girare intorno a questa coppia dei miei nonni e poi la fabbrica dove i miei nonni facevano scialli e tessuti ricamati. Un grande fascino per me andare a frugare nei sacchi dei ritagli, dei tessuti. Ricevevamo in quella fabbrica le riviste di moda di tutto il mondo. Durante queste convalescenze dalle mie bronchiti ritagliavo questi figurini e per cui ho fatto veramente una scuola di moda.
Our home was inside of the old city of Jerusalem, inside the walls, but my school was outside of the walls. Inside the city, there was always Israeli soldiers. And I remember there was this soldier who stopped us and asked my father for his ID. The Israeli soldier understood that my father was in a rush, but he wanted to humiliate him. So he dropped the ID card on the floor and he said, "You can go, pick it up." I remember my father's face of not shock, but a sense of humiliation. In that moment, I understood I need to do something. So as a child, immediately I bent on the floor, took the ID, gave it to my father, and said, "We are late, we have to rush." I remember when we arrived to the school, what he said. Courage skipped generation. But I also remember in that moment, me deciding within seconds, how can I not make my father be humiliated, and how can I somehow teach the lesson to this bully who's 19-year-old, who is basically has a gun and think he has power over people whose life he's ruling, that a child basically can humiliate him. I did not have fear, but I know that I would not let fear control my life. That is the memory of my childhood.
There are women who know how to forge destiny, even when destiny wants to choose for them, and at times leaves them with undeletable scars. Fran's life is a solid evidence of integrity and strength. There is no line between set and life. There is no fiction.
My mom always said that I don't need to take a typing class because I'm going to have a secretary. So at a very young age, I knew that I had what it took to be successful because my parents bolstered that in me, which is so wonderful to give that to a child. And I never did take typing, and I still can't type, but I do have a secretary.
You've had sushi before, haven't you, Nanny? Fine?
Oh, yeah, sure. Smells like fish here.
A girlfriend of mine invited me to her home in southwest France. And this is at a time in my life when I was still quite codependent to my husband, but trying to find independence, as painful as that was. And there in first class was the president of CBS, who I had just done 2 jobs for. And I said, Jeff, and he said, Fran, and I said, thank you, Lord. Grazie. And ran into the bathroom to put some makeup on. And while I'm powdering my face, I'm saying carpe diem, which is Latin for seize the day. And when I came out, I started talking to him. And, you know, he was a captive audience. Where was he going to go? Coach. So for 9.5 hours, I was talking to him about how I need to develop a show for me because nobody's going to write something that fits me hand in glove but me and Peter. So at the end of the flight, as we were pulling into Charles de Gaulle, he said, okay, when you get back to LA, call my office, I'll set you up with development, and we'll hear your ideas. I didn't even have the idea then.
So, what's the green stuff?
It's wasabi. It's like mustard. Gives it a real kick.
Ooh, I love mustard.
But after spending like a week with Catherine and her 2 screaming babies, I thought I would lose my mind. And my friend, who I did the short-lived series with, Twiggy, the one and only, called and said, you're so near to London, why don't you come? And I went to Twiggy. But she and her husband, Lee, were working. So I started dragging their 12-year-old little English schoolgirl daughter with me.
Nanny, fine, you've got to help me. You have to get Maxwell to ask me back.
And like halfway through the day, I still had a list of things I wanted to see. So she says, oh, Fran, my new shoes are hurting me. And I said, well, honey, step on the backs of them. And she said, won't that break them? And I said, break them in. And I thought to myself, this is such crazy advice I'm giving her, but I didn't want to go home yet. And I thought, you know, there's something really funny in this relationship because I'm the adult, but I'm being totally selfish and immature. I couldn't get it out of my head. And at like 5 a.m. London time, I called Peter and I said, I came up with the idea that we should pitch for CBS. What do you think of a spin on The Sound of Music? Only instead of Julie Andrews, I come to the door. He thought for only a minute and he said, that's it. That's the one we're going to pitch to CBS. And so when the day came that I returned to LA, we made the appointment. We went into the development office. I said, you know, let's do a spin on The Sound of Music. He went into Jeff's office and said, Fran Dresher as the nanny from hell. And Jeff said, sold. And we got green-lighted to write the pilot with our partners that we were put together with and a studio. And we just kept jumping those hurdles. They liked the script. We made a pilot. They picked up the pilot. And 6 years later, the show has not been off the air a single day anywhere in the world, still playing the reruns of those 6 years.
Gee, you know that mustard really clears up the nasal passages. I like it. I wonder how long it's gonna last.
Susanne Bartsch, through her outfits, her extravaganza, is her life. She never takes herself too seriously and creates characters that are extremely extreme and artistic and open. Everyone can be who they want to be.
My mother's motto was, play the game. It's better to play. Winning and losing is not important. Of course, it's better to win, but the most important thing is to play. So they always encourage us to do whatever we want to do, not be afraid. I like this a lot.
This looks great with the eyeliner.
But with this, now we just should do the red, I think. I view myself as an artist. I don't sing, I don't dance. I mean, I dance, but I'm not a dancer. I'm not a dancer. I'm go-go dancer. I dance on the bar. But it's basically, my art is expressing myself through looks. And I like to transform myself. I like to use my body as my canvas. To me, it's like, it's art. And I enjoy planning an outfit and, playing around with things and just, you never know what I'm gonna look like. Because, a lot of people have their trademark look. They have always their blonde hair and they're like push-up bra or, a certain look, a 50s look or a punk look or a goth look. I am all of it. My favorite part of it is, in a way, when I see the clothes in the closet. It's a technical experience. I see a dress, I'm going, oh, this would look good with those shoes. Oh, I should have a hairpiece with that. Oh, that wig would. Things, it's technical, what goes with what and how I would wear it, which shoe goes where. I love the makeup because, to me, ironically, I used to dress head to toe. I used to start with the hair and the heel and what's in between. Now I often dress to the makeup. I don't think about what I'm gonna wear. I'm gonna think what the makeup is. What are we doing for the makeup? And then, oh, I wanna wear. So it's kind of a new approach. I can wear something 3-4 times. It can be a 60s Peggy Moffat supermodel look. It can be a Baroque Marie Antoinette punk look. It can be a silver screen siren from the 30s, in the same outfit because of her makeup.
Sometimes we are scared of forms. Sometimes we become victims of them, and we call them mere appearances. Sometimes these forms are so strong to turn into substance. Patricia Field is capable of translating forms into souls. Her costumes in Sex and the City and The Devil Wears Prada are so coherent with the characters because they make and create them.
Working with Meryl Streep was a really great experience. When I found out that I had this opportunity, I was, overjoyed because I have a real high respect for her as a professional. I learned a lot from her. It has been said that the clothes become a character, and that's something I've heard many times. I honestly don't understand what that means, to tell you the truth. I know this is going to sound, naive or something, but my process is to support the actor who is portraying and creating a character. Of course, I do it in my own style. I can't do it in somebody else's style. You get the character from the script, and then you meet the actor, and, it's kind of, you put the pieces together. But for me, what's very important from my style or point of view is that the clothing is interesting. It's not that it's trendy or on trend, or it's absolutely opposite of that. Because for something to become classic, it has to be timeless and it has to be intelligent. Of course, there's a personalization of how I do it, but that's based on my experience as a human being from when I was a baby to now. That's my, style. You develop your style as an expression of who you are. That has always been the way I did it. At one point, I just did it unconsciously, but because people keep asking me about my process and so on, I've learned to try to explain it in some way.
Bethann Hardison, she always stand up for herself to change the concept of beauty, for women to be respected, to have their own opinion, fight for their rights, and for what they believe in.
You never had to use your body. You could use your energy. It's not necessarily your body, it's just being allowed to bring something to the clothing. Designers needed that, and it was quite different than it is now. And so that's how you became a muse. If we didn't have that time in the past, there would be no muses. If designers didn't connect with girls who brought something to their clothes when they came in for a fitting or when they wanted to try things on, things would never be.
Oh, so funny.
Iman was someone who was discovered by Peter Beard, and he sent Oprah the message that, he had found this girl in the bush that it was extraordinary, which offended a great deal of the society here at that time, because the black community surely was offended to think that you had to go all the way to Africa to find some girl and bring her here. And I had a small company at the time, and I was doing very well. My company, Bethann Management, I had 2 girls in the showroom that were showroom models, and she had to come through that area where we changed clothes. And it was that moment that, I had to help her with a shoe, and that really made her feel secure. And I could see she was trembling like a bird, and so I helped her with the shoe, and my 2 girls were saying, "Why is she down on her knees helping her? She's no queen, she's no princess. Why is she down there?" I was helping her with a shoe because she couldn't get the shoes on. She'd never worn heels before. And so from that moment, Iman always considered me her Statue of Liberty.
There are women who change destiny a million of times, redeem whatever life has taken with dedication and work. Because pain is not only your own, but a history of your country, such as the case of Rula Jabreal.
A woman, after the war in 1948, in April exactly, she decided that her mission in life was to react to the war by building optimism. She used her own house as a center for refugees first, and then she transformed it into a school, into high school, into college, and she educated girls. My father was her friend. For years they knew each other. So when my mom died and he knew he was dying because he had cancer, he understood that the best, most precious thing in his life was his daughter. And he understood that he needed to hand us over somehow to this woman so she can be in charge of our education. It was incredible to grow up in an environment where women were strong, determined, passionate, compassionate, opinionated. Above all, they were driven. Nothing could stop them. And she injected in us this sense of confidence. So I never felt the complex or sense of inferiority because I was an orphan, I didn't have parents, or I was poor, or I was skinny, or I was black. All did not matter. What mattered, how much hard work I was willing to do in order to achieve my goals. And I think this is the most beautiful legacy that you can give a child. That if we work hard, we study hard, we can reach the stars. We can do whatever we want. I didn't have basically a choice. Not that you have a choice and you have multiple opportunities. It was clear to me that education was the only way. Otherwise, the alternative is basically marrying off at age 13, 14, 18, or the other option, be exploited by political groups. Look, for me, education was my ticket to freedom.
The never-ending brave search for diversity, the link with the nature in every feeling, the necessity to preserve her roots with the curiosity for every new discovery. This for me is Alba Clemente, the colors of Naples in the American land.
You are already there, right? Everything is okay?
Nina na na marinare, gova varca miezzo mare, io te parle non respond, te se per se miezzo su, te voria magna de vasa, ma ho paura di città.
La vita è teatro, il teatro è la vita. Tutti gli anni in cui non ho più lavorato perché avevo poi 4 figli, quindi molto forte questo senso di madre senza tanto aiuto perché ho proprio lasciato per tanti anni, però io l'ho come investito nella vita. Questo teatrino ha varie facce, È una cosa un po', credo, napoletana, perché a Napoli io mi ricordo quando ho studiato e abitato là per 4 anni, ovunque guardi, anche in una situazione super semplice, è sempre un pezzo di teatro. E pensavo l'altro giorno che stranamente, invece a New York, da dove ormai 36 anni che siamo qua, ovunque guardi è un film.
Una notte a Napoli, con la luna e il mare, ho incontrato un angelo che non poteva più volare. Una notte a Napoli, per le stelle si scordò, ed anche senza ali, il cielo mi portò.
Tales of a lost Italy, the solid feelings of family, the genuine connection with the world are the colors of Rosita Missoni. Thanks to these colors, you can learn new words and new beauty coming from the wisdom of women who know how to take decisions, women who are so strong to leave a sign.
Mi sposo con Ottavio, che conosco a Londra, che vedo gareggiare a Wembley, dove avvenivano le prime Olimpiadi del dopoguerra. Ottavio è stato un grande campione e una grandissima promessa quando aveva 18-20 anni. Poi a 22 è stato fatto prigioniero dagli inglesi. Lui diceva che era ospite di Sua Maestà britannica. È stato ospite per 4 anni perché gli hanno rimandati a casa nel 1946 da questo campo di concentramento. A Wembley avevamo dei posti da studentessi proprio sotto la fiaccola, sopra il passaggio degli atleti. La cosa che abbiamo guardato subito è chi erano gli italiani per poterti fare, insomma. E c'erano i 400 ostacoli con Ottavio Missoni. Lui esce e sulla maglia ha un numero che era 331. In casa mia il 7 era il numero di mio nonno. Lui ci dava 7 lire alla domenica, 7 caramelle. Le finestre della fabbrica erano 7 per 7 vetri. Il numero porta fortuna, dico, vedrai che vince. Difatti quel giorno vinse la sua batteria. Poi arrivò terzo, ma comunque fu parte della finale. Purtroppo nella finale arrivò ultimo, però sempre finalista olimpionico, dopo aver fatto 4 anni di prigionia, che non era il miglior training sportivo.
You know, I was in war zones, Beirut, even in my own country, in my own homeland. I grew up during the period of the first Intifada, where people were killed and shot in the streets and tortured in prison. And however, if you allow fear to control you, then you lost basically your appointment with destiny and history. Misogynists, sexist, bullies, and thugs and criminals will not intimidate me. That's not going to happen. Not now, not ever. Focusing on how women are treated in society reflects where the society is heading, and minorities as well.
The characters you portray are typically honest, forthright, powerful women. Why are you drawn to those sorts of characters?
I'm actually really drawn to characters that change up the status quo, and
It was so easy for me to talk to that fashion or model community, I call it, about race, because they basically didn't have a clue sometimes. They thought that everything was normal, that they could do certain things. And it was very easy for me to say, I mean, you do know that blacks get married, if I was talking to Brides magazine, or you'd say, you want me to find you one great black model. How many models are you using? Oh, 35. Oh, well, come on. And now can you see the ratio? Beauty as beauty and not as color. You know, I think it's sometimes energies bring energy. And I think I just was the energy that was supposed to be around that time to help keep making people feel uncomfortable or comfortable to do more.
Oh, yes. He said, someone's doing a film on you? And I said, yes, but I wasn't thinking it was you. I was talking about myself.
Somebody said, you empower women. It's so beautiful. You know, Bethann, for example, if you're doing something with her, and I said, I don't bother about Bethann because she has great balls.
Yes,
don't worry. That's the one who really knows how to do things.
This is God.
True, no?
Yeah, true. It's true. Oh, you want us kissing?
2007, and I held the first press conference in regards to the problem that we had with diversity and racial integration back into our industry. The interesting thing about that is that when we called out the industry for whether it's your intention or not, the results is racism, that affected everything. That helped the model agencies start to say, okay, because we were putting a light on the industry. And also when I did it 4 years, 5, 6 years later, by actually in 2013 naming luxury brand houses of who were, whether it's their intention, not using one girl or one guy of color once a season, and for 3 or 4 not, that's racism. Whether you like to believe it or not, that changed everything. So now it is a better ride. Yes, you have many more girls that are working, and they're beginning to have careers. So it's great. That's the good news. Could it be better? Sure, it always could be better. I'm never thinking it's going to be 50-50 or 60-40 in our favor, because it's not our world. Model managers, fashion designers, you know, the whole industry, it's not our business, you know. Hip hop, that's our business.
You know, the fashion industry, I think, is ill. You know, it's not in good health. The problem with the fashion business is that it's still in the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution is over. And the only way that it's still alive and breathing its last breath is that there are countries around the world where the people are starving and they will work for much less money. They are more willing. The West, as America, forget it.
A Trieste c'è Giorgio Berweger, un uomo di un fascino assoluto, meraviglioso, ma anche commissario tecnico della nazionale d'atletica. Giorgio arrivava e spesso portava le sue giacche per riattaccare i bottoni, perché dice: mamma, sai, col tram a Milano mi si staccano i bottoni. Un bel giorno dice: mamma, guarda che non dovrai più riattaccarmi i bottoni perché mi compro una 500. Giorgio era un uomo di 1,95 di statura, quindi come stesse sulla 500 non si sa. Comunque, ah sì, dice la mamma, ci pensa di notte e poi la mattina dopo dice: senti Giorgio, io sono ben contenta di riattaccarti i bottoni, ma invece della 500 perché non compri una macchina di maglieria per me e tua zia che ci guadagniamo da vivere? E così fu. Giorgio Berweger compra una macchina di maglieria, una Dubied, e naturalmente chiama Ottavio per vedere questa cosa. E che cosa fanno? Decidono di fare una tuta come uniforme per l'atletica. E così parte questa cosa. Alle Olimpiadi del 48 a Londra la nazionale italiana, quella di pallacanestro e di pallanuoto, avevano già questa tuta di maglia, ma non era una tuta qualsiasi, aveva già le zip per facilitare, non so, l'atletica è uno sport che si fa con le scarpe chiodate, quindi dovevano togliersi le scarpe ogni volta che sfilavano i pantaloni. No, allora con le zip non era più necessario, cioè tutte queste cose che non esistevano.
We have to stop eating anything with high corn syrup, stop eating the things that are toxic, because the thickening of the arteries is a result of the body protecting itself from all the crap that we put down there.
Do you feel happier now that it seems like, from an observational point, that people are more open and accepting of this version of you as opposed to the nanny? Because this version of you is as entertaining and as fun as that version, but you are demonstratively more enlightened, you're beautifully articulate, you're very passionate, you're an activist.
Yes, I feel very grateful that, my fans have taken the journey of wellness with me. It was only the first year out of the nanny that I was told that I had cancer. So the transition was pretty quick out of the nanny and into this frying pan.
Fran Dresher, gopherred.com, Cancer Smancer, and thank you so much. What a great honor to meet you. All right.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Smancer Cancer.
Things to do with safety.
Hi, Joseph.
Dave, you put a microphone on you.
Okay.
30. Tommy, our camera operator through. Tommy, come on in.
Okay, here we go.
You don't have to shake behind
This is so gorgeous.
Would you like some water or anything?
What?
Would you like some water or anything?
Oh,
That's right.
no.
Okay. So just careful with your feet. Everybody else?
This is a big day because I'm selling some stuff, I'm in one of the biggest animated films. I play the Bride of Frankenstein in Hotel Transylvania 2. I'm selling that on behalf of my studio, Sony. And that's a great movie, really funny, with Adam Sandler and a bunch of comics that Kevin James plays Frank Stein, and I play his wife.
Come on, wine box! Is that where? Oh.
It's actually not good for you.
Well, it's a blowout. No, it's a blowout. That's a big glass. That's a big. That is Sanders and
William's coming out.
I always say I'm like an open book. What you see is what you get. So it's disarming when you're authentic and true and real. And not everybody's used to that. But then when they get it, it's like, oh, this is refreshing and nice. I like to be around this. But that's true with everything in life. Keep it simple, keep it real. Somebody recently told me that Muhammad Ali before he go out into the ring, the thing that the guy who was with him for his whole career, always whispering in his ear right there outside of the ring, always said, you know, keep it simple and keep it moving. Just keep it simple and keep it moving. And that was like the thing that resonated in his head the whole time he was in the fighting ring. Keep it simple, keep it moving.
All righty, well, we did that. Now we can hightail it back. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, here we go.
Nell'80 Francesca ha fatto una mostra qua a New York, quindi siamo arrivati direttamente dall'India e ci siamo innamorati subito della città e nell'81 ci siamo trasferiti. Sicuramente la città in quegli anni era molto interessante, siamo arrivati in un momento in cui c'era un'onda speciale, noi abbiamo pensato che era l'America, che era sempre così e non ci siamo accorti, uno, che era New York e due, che era un periodo specialmente magico. Avevamo già 2 figlie, una appena nata anche, però riuscivamo in qualche modo a fare giorno e notte senza mai dormire. Vivevamo in questo studio a Broadway, dove era lo studio di Francesco e casa, e la città era spettacolare, molto aperta. Tutto era possibile, tutto succedeva.
We used to go to the factory a lot, Andy Warhol, at the factory, and that was right down on 17th Street in Broadway. One time I was having lunch and I asked Fred, who was his assistant at the time, could you please ask Andy, does he have any more of those posters of the American Indian series? He said, oh, I don't know, let me ask him. So it came out, he said, no, he said he doesn't have any more. Oh, I said, oh, because I really love that series so much. I love American Indian anyway, and I love this man because he was the last of the Mohegans of fighting for land. Now it's happening again, but here we go. So I came back to the factory for another lunch one day, and when I was leaving, Andy came out and said, Bethann, come here. And I came over, and he had it all rolled up, and he unrolled it and said, here. And he had already signed it. I was so thrilled. I was so, oh man, that was like the best thing ever given. I mean, I just love it. Andy always wanted me to represent him, and I never wanted to do that as a model. And Fred used to call me all the time and said, please, Bethann, he's asking again, please, can you just say yes? I said, and do what with him? I don't know, you could figure it out, because at the time my agency was doing so well, and Andy was so proud of everything I did.
Io sono anche nei diari di Andy Warhol, C'è una mia bella foto e in più tutti mi fanno i complimenti perché è l'unica donna di cui parla bene, che in genere era un po' acidino con le donne. Warhol era uno degli artisti che vedevamo continuamente, veniva da noi a mangiare a Broadway, allo studio, ci vedevamo fuori continuamente, lui era molto social, quindi ogni festa, apertura, era sempre là. E faceva una serie di ritratti di nudi di donne. In teatro ero sempre nuda, completamente disinvolta, avevo un po' perso quella disinvoltura, l'idea di stare in uno studio nuda un po', e ho preso un po' di tempo a dire di sì. Poi ho detto di sì, e lì è stata un'esperienza bellissima, perché alla Factory, e c'era lui, cambiava continuamente camere, macchine fotografiche, veniva super vicino, per cui era quasi come io ero completamente nuda, ma mi ero messa una piccolissima catenina con una croce che mi faceva un po' più mi copriva un po'. E quindi con sta camera veniva, tornava, ma ha fatto centinaia di fotografie, che è quello che in genere faceva quando preparava questi ritratti. E questa bella esperienza che mi ricordo era come un solletico, che proprio mi faceva quasi ridere come veniva così vicino con questa enorme camera. Purtroppo poco tempo dopo è morto. E una mia cara amica, che era anche il suo braccio destro, Paige Powell, mi disse: vuoi il ritratto? Perché aveva già scelto le foto ed erano pronti per andare nel silk screening, che è come faceva i ritratti. E io stupidamente dissi no, e adesso lui non c'è più. Però che cosa è successo? Che tutte queste centinaia di Polaroid che aveva preso sono rimaste al museo di Pittsburgh, vanno nelle aste, hanno fatto libri.
Keith would be in a restaurant. We all would be in. We should spend a lot of time in Mr. Chow's Uptown with Tina. He would take a plate, and sometimes, but he did this drawing, and he gave it to me. Wrote for Bethann, K herring. Puts a couple of more things, and then kisses and stuff. One day, in the blessing of stupidity, I decided to wash the plate. Why would you wash your plate? But I did. And it was only after I don't know why I needed felt to clean it. Why didn't I just wipe it? But for some reason, I washed it. No, okay, this is the results.
I wanted to get a reaction from people. I didn't want people to just come and look and say, oh yeah, that's nice. I wanted people to feel something, and I think I achieved that. Every outfit, I wore it somewhere. Everything had a history. So it was almost like the history of events. There was a lot of history attached. There was the history of the fashion, starting in the 80s. There was the history of nightlife looks. And then there's the history of me wearing things to events. So there was a lot of things that people could connect to. Oh, that one stays up. My body is definitely, I'm able to wear the same clothes. I was gonna show you my boob. Are you filming? It's genetics. Well, I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. I like what I do. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy bringing people together. I enjoy seeing people having fun. I love music. I love dancing. To me, dancing is like a meditation. So I get off on people and the energy that they give me back that makes me energetic. So I don't have to do drugs.
My memory is where you walk into a place and you immediately start dancing. And when people dance, people are happy. In the 20s, when the new modernization mentality emerged, and the skirts that always covered the ankles came to here, and the shape, and the people were doing the Charleston and kicking their legs up and pushing their arms in the air. They were happy. Where today, there's no dancing. The music is like either lounge or it's boom, boom, boom. I think there's still dancing in the Latin countries. But in this country, we're not dancing.
I like red. I don't do red often. The red's nice. I like it. And I like the idea that I'm not trying to hide. I don't pretend it's not my hair. When I have a wig, I want people to know it's a wig. I don't want them to think it's I like the fakeness of a wig. It's part of expressing yourself. You know, the larger than life, really.
It's so easy making eggs, but they have to be organic, pasture-raised. You know, I'm a cancer survivor. Took me 2 years and 8 doctors to get a proper diagnosis. I always joke, I'd say I got in the stirrups more times than Roy Rogers. He was a famous cowboy in the movies. And I always feel like, you know, sometimes lessons come hard learned because you just ignore the opportunities that are more subtle. But I really needed to learn how to ask for help. I realized that I needed to become a more well-rounded whole person, a person that's not just indulging the fact that I'd rather give than receive. I was uncomfortable receiving, I was uncomfortable making it about me. I was uncomfortable being vulnerable, being scared, asking for help, all that stuff. And the cancer actually gave me the opportunity, because I finally got into a situation that I couldn't go it alone. Even when I was raped at gunpoint, I didn't act vulnerable. I said, I'm okay. I just picked myself up and dusted myself off and moved on. It wasn't true. And probably doing that helped give me the cancer years later. Because, you know, pain has to go somewhere. We needed the money. I got a job working in a movie. I wasn't in the mood to be funny, but I had to take it. I was always scared. Then eventually they apprehended the guy, and that helped. And I remember it was like 2 weeks after it happened, we had, my husband and I, we had sex for the first time. And he was so loving and wonderful, so generous. You know, sometimes poor women, they get raped and then their husbands make it about them. They reject them as if, you know, it's so selfish. And, you know, Peter wasn't like that. We had sex, and I guess he saw I was like, my eyes were closed really tight. And he said when he was on top of me, it's just me. It's me. Open your eyes. I love you. And I opened my eyes, and there he was. And that was me, you know, entering my body again, entering my life as a, you know, as a woman that is back in her body. I mean, it's not easy, but with, you know, love and, you know, understanding that you're not going to be in the right frame of mind to make any decisions. You shouldn't make any decisions. You should trust people that you really trust.
This is a small piece of poem of Gibran Khalil Gibran, who's one of my favorite intellectuals maybe of all time. Basically, when you are in love with somebody, you need to grow side by side and not in each other's shadows, but you need to be close enough so you can actually both take the sun and be protective of each other's. It's a beautiful way to talk about love. It's not about control, it's not about ownership, it's about partnership.
First, you know, you're gonna kick and scream and cry and say, why me, Lord? And then I had to get a radical hysterectomy so I could never have children, you know, naturally. So I gave birth to like a movement. I said, why, you know, by the grace of God, I was still in stage 1, and I said, well, why isn't everybody diagnosed in stage 1? The reason why we lose loved ones to cancer is almost always due to late stage diagnosis. Why is that? That shouldn't be. Do we not know what tests to ask for? Is it that, you know, there's more profit in sickness than wellness? What is it? So I started to speak on it and formulate, you know, like a vision and ideas. And, you know, that's it. I started the Cancer Schmancer movement. I put it out there to the world that this is what happened, and I'm starting a movement. I mean, I can't even believe it myself that I started something like that, but I did.
il nostro primo successo è stato un vestitino rigato, primo abito venduto su bancarella, perché era un abito tutto abbottonato davanti, quindi non era necessario andare in cabina per provare questo vestito. Cioè, nel nostro piccolo cercavamo di dare qualche cosa di nuovo, insomma. 2 tipi di rigature, una cosiddetta materasso con le righe e una a righe più sottili, e primo ordine di 500 vestiti, che per noi era una cosa. E prima vetrina in Piazza del Duomo con 18 manichini dove queste modelle si rincorrevano come se giocassero a mosca cieca. Allora, nel colore che più evidenziava la riga, un fazzoletto sugli occhi, come se giocassero queste ragazze. Noi la sera andiamo a vedere questa vetrina deserta, la Piazza del Duomo, noi sotto i portici che ammiriamo questa vetrina, neanche portato la macchina fotografica, non si usava allora a fare queste cose. Passa un meccanico in tuta, che forse erano le 8 di sera, forse aveva smesso di lavorare, si ferma e in milanese dice: "Oh Susanne, povere ragazze, per fortuna che gambendai io, per fortuna che gli han bendato gli occhi, perché se si fossero viste." Questo è stato il primo complimento alla nostra prima vetrina, al nostro primo successo.
Wherever you start from, I think if you understand that something drives you, then you have the fire basically to follow it wherever you are. Media was something intriguing, whether it's directly reporting about scandals, corruptions, wars, violations. It was something to be on the front line, watching history happening in front of your eyes. You're actually the mouth, the eyes, and the ears of your people and other people. So you're telling them what's going on around the world, so their action can actually predict and pave the way for change and cause change. When a nation is well informed, you have better leaders and you have better political process and systems. When people are the least informed, then they are basically easily manipulated, and then this is when you have tyranny. I think in this moment of history, Americans are the least informed and most entertained. And I think what we are watching is the unfolding of democracy, which is scary. With my reporting, with my teaching at the university, I'm trying to empower communities so they can take their own destiny in their hands and vote in or vote out the future. We actually are sitting in an era where we have to fight for the soul of this nation that include all of us, Latino, African Americans, Muslim, white, black, LGBT community. If one ethnic group is considered above or below, that is a system that nobody wants to subscribe to. So let's uphold together justice. We're not asking for more rights or less rights, we're asking for equal rights. That's all we're asking. And this is what the shining city in the hill was about. This is what America was about.
America was a young country, it was expanding, was a place for opportunity. What you see today is the reaction of people who have lost their living. They've lost their jobs. Their jobs are no longer there. We are now in what I call the corporate middle dark ages. Like in the dark ages where the people got no education, there was no literacy. The people worked on the land of the kings and the nobility. They were indentured servants. They paid the king's rent to grow stuff on the land. And now Trump is like the cherry on the cake.
America has stepped left. And you think it's gonna be bad, and then it's just as bad as you imagined. And then even a little bit more, because it's rapid now. And we just have to, everybody is, stepping up, thank God. But who would have ever thought that my America would be under siege in this way, or that my America would be in need to demonstrate in the matter. There are people stepping out to protect those who don't look like them. Who would ever think that? But it's time. It's time.